For this technology investigation, we're going to talk about a company you think you know, Kroger. Yeah, on the surface, it's just a grocery store. But what's really going on behind the scenes is one of the most sophisticated data science operations in the world. And that quote right there just nails it. You see, Kroger isn't just selling milk and eggs. It's selling analytics. And the biggest consumer brands on the planet, we're talking the huge ones, are paying millions just to get a peek at that data. So how on earth did a regular grocery chain build a data empire right under our noses? Well, it all started way back in the 1990s. They had this simple but honestly brilliant idea that would change their entire business. That idea was the loyalty card. But here's the secret. Its real purpose wasn't about saving you a few bucks on cereal. Nope. It was about data collection right from day one. And the amount of information they were grabbing with every single swipe, it was just staggering. This system wasn't just tracking what you bought. It was building this incredibly detailed profile, who you are, how often you come in, which brands you love, and even how sensitive you are to a price change. You have to understand, from the very beginning, the scale of this thing was just massive. We're talking about every single transaction, from millions of households, week after week after week, all of it being fed into what would become one of the most valuable consumer databases in America. So what makes grocery data so special anyway? Well, it's because it is a direct window into human behavior. It's predictable, you do it all the time, and you know what? It reveals more about us than almost any other kind of data out there. I mean, just think about what this data tells them. You suddenly start buying diapers, bam, the system knows there's a new baby in the house. You switch to all gluten-free products, maybe a new diet or a health concern. You can figure out how big a household is, how loyal they are to a brand. You can even get signals about income levels. It is an absolute behavioral goldmine. And that was the big aha moment. That's when Kroger's leadership realized their most valuable asset wasn't the food on the shelves. It was the data flowing through their servers. They weren't really in the grocery business anymore. They were in the behavior business. So once they had this revelation, they knew they had to get serious about it. In 2015, they spun off their whole data division into its own company, and they gave it this cool, kind of nerdy name, 84.51 degrees, which is literally the longitude of its headquarters in Cincinnati. The mission for 8451 degrees was crystal clear. Take that mountain of loyalty data and put it to work. They started building these incredibly sophisticated models to predict buying habits, figure out the perfect price for a product, and even forecast which customers were about to jump ship to a competitor. And this right here, this shows you just how serious their tech game is. This isn't some simple spreadsheet. We're talking about a cutting-edge hybrid stack. You've got Teradata handling the heavy legacy stuff, Snowflake and BigQuery for massive analysis in the cloud, Spark for the processing, and Kafka for real-time data streams. This is the kind of architecture you'd expect at a Silicon Valley tech giant, not a grocery store. Okay, so they've got all this data and all this amazing tech, but what do they actually do with it all? Well, it basically breaks down into two things: giving incredible analytics to big consumer brands and creating these hyper-personalized deals directly for shoppers like you and me. Just imagine you're a big brand like PepsiCo. Through 8451 degree, you can finally get answers to your most important questions. You can see not just who is buying your soda, but what else they're putting in their cart with it. You can run a promotion and see, in almost real time, exactly how it changes what people buy. For a brand, that kind of insight is the holy grail. This metaphor is just perfect. Think about it. Just like Google lets advertisers target you based on what you search for, Kroger lets brands target you based on what you've bought before. It totally changed the advertising game for packaged goods. So, does all this actually work? Oh yeah, get this. Over 90% of the digital coupons Kroger sends out are actually used. That is an almost unbelievable redemption rate. It's just proof of how well their system knows what you're going to buy next. And we have to be really clear here. This isn't your parents' junk mail coupons. This isn't old school marketing. It is pure machine learning. It's complex models predicting what you, specifically, are likely to want, and then giving you a little nudge to buy it. It's a whole different ballgame. And it doesn't stop with just getting you to buy more chips. This same predictive power is like the central brain for their entire supply chain. it forecasts demand, it figures out if a snowstorm is going to make people buy more bread and milk, and it manages inventory at every single store with incredible accuracy. What Kroger built here, it really forces us all to just stop and rethink the entire retail industry. It's a story that's about data, sure, but it's also about power and all the complicated questions that come with it. And of course, that leads us to the big, unavoidable question. Now, Kroger says they anonymize and group the data before selling the insights, but the sheer scale of this collection raises some really important debates about our privacy and consent in this new digital world. It's a tricky balance, and it's a conversation every company with this kind of data power is having right now. So, if you want to boil this whole incredible system down, think of it like this. It all starts with the physical store. The aisles, they're not just aisles. They're the user interface for collecting the data. Then, you've got the loyalty card. That little piece of plastic is the crucial key. It's the identity layer that links every single thing you buy, every behavior, back to your specific household profile. All that data then flows right into the heart of the operation, that massive, complex database. That's the engine that stores and processes and powers everything else. And finally, sitting right on top of it all is 84.51 degrees. That is the strategic brain of the entire operation, where all the data scientists and analysts turn raw numbers into predictive models, into real insights, and ultimately into enormous profit. And that really is the heart of this entire story. By figuring out the true value of their data, Kroger didn't just make their grocery business better, they built a completely new company right inside the old one. And in the process, they changed the rules for everyone else. It really makes you wonder, right? What other old school businesses are out there just sitting on a data gold mine, waiting for someone to figure it out?